Man, that's a clear picture. All 4 panels are showing me data, and there's a little bit of art and a little bit of science to making sure that your sonar is reading clearly. So today, I'm going to share with you the top 5 things that you can do to make your sonar more readable. This will really help you the next time you're on the water. So the number 1 thing that you can do to make your sonar more clear, more readable, is to mount your transducer correctly. This is time well spent. If you mount your transducer in an area that doesn't have bubble trails and excess current, you're gonna be in really good shape, keeping your readout really clear. So we're gonna combine tips 2 and 3 together because their sensitivity and their contrast, and they complement each other. When you get your Solix or your Helix out of the box, everything is dialed in. The hardware, the software, everything is optimized, and you don't have to make a lot of tweaks. But there are times when there's a lot of sediment in the water, there's plankton, there is soft or hard bottom conditions that will help you get a clearer picture if you make some subtle changes. What you should know is you're gonna get a great picture right out of the box. Your Humminbird units come at a setting of 10 and 10. Level 10 on sensitivity, level 10 on contrast. And it's optimized right in the sweet spot for the best picture in general. But you can make some small adjustments that will help dial it in just a little bit more. For instance, in order to see these fish, I can turn up the sensitivity and make it really bright and really prominent. I'm seeing too many small distracting things in the surface. So what I'll do is dial that back to where I get a good thick red solid line on the bottom. In fact, I can even see some fish and get some distance between the fish and the bottom. So given the settings here, given the water conditions, somewhere about 12 or 13 to my eyes looks optimum. Now, important note, my eyes look at this differently than yours do. So you're gonna set this so that you can feel comfortable that you have a good solid bottom reading and you can see the structure in fish, and that will take just a couple of tweaks. So backing off sensitivity and having it just right will help you understand where do I have a transition zone between soft bottom and hard bottom. And we know as anglers, that's where fish like to find food and that's where they like to navigate. Color, in fact, is information in itself, and it communicates a relative bottom hardness between softer bottom and harder bottom. You can see where this goes from hard bottom to soft bottom and then back to hard bottom. When you look at 2D sonar, it's colorful, there are lots of colors, but when you look at side imaging and down imaging, it's monochromatic. You really have one color to look at. So what you're really gonna deal with is brightness and relative dimness on there. And so I can turn up the sensitivity. You'll notice that things that are harder bottom reflect the sonar energy really well, and they're brighter. Conversely, clay or mud or marl, they're softer relatively, and they absorb the sonar energy, so they'll look dimmer than the hard bottom. You can see as I dial that up to 16, 17, 18, it's very bright, and right now the bottom is so bright, the data, one thing is screaming over another, and I can't differentiate between weeds or bottom. But if I back that out, it's down to 16, 13, 12, and right 10 looks really good there. So contrast really increases the visual separation or differentiation between hard and soft things. So I'll make the adjustment here and I'll take it all the way up to 20, and you can see, even though that boulder right there in the soft bottom are hard and soft differently, obviously, it's hard to tell, and if I back that down, you really can't tell much either. But if I keep this right here at about 10, I can see the difference between soft bottom and hard bottom and really separate the difference between fish and bottom too. Tweaking sensitivity and contrast in small increments when you're on the water will help you dial in to just the right conditions. So number 4 is adjusting your range, and this is especially true on side imaging and mega side imaging here. And so when I'm graphing now, I'm looking wide areas. So I've got my range set out wider. This in case is about to 100 feet either side of the boat. But I'm coming up on a bunch of rocks here. So it's an interesting little piece. It looks like it's a long linear piece of structure. And so what I like to do is cover a lot of water in a wide range, is I want to be able to see more of this ridge as it pops up out of deep water. This is a fantastic fish holding place. So I'm at about 50 feet right there. I can use up my whole screen and see better detail. I can differentiate objects much better. And the best part about the mega imaging is at distance, you still all have that detail. But right now, I want to be able to dial in that detail right on this spine And by bringing that closer, you get to see all the detail, both of structure and of fish. And tip number 5 is color palettes. My eyes see color differently than your eyes, and the conditions may vary throughout the day. So you can choose a color that your eyes can see best, and that way you get all the data right off your units. Right now, this is an amber color palette, but I can change this easily. As the cloudy skies kind of develop today, I may very well go to a blue. Now you've got a number of options. You can go to a different sort of amber, almost a bronze. There's a bright green. And if you happen to be one of those 5% people that don't see color well, here's a gray scale. It's the number 6 on this particular unit. It'll help you see light and dark very well, even though you can't see some of the bright colors. So given the time of day, you may be coming in off the water and into lower light conditions. And there's a really handy feature on this unit. If you press the power button, you can go into night mode, and I'll turn that on. And you can see it dims the screen, and on 2D, it converts your white background to a dark background. Watch as I make that adjustment here to go to night mode. What was white back there is now dark, so your eyes aren't blinded coming back to port with the data that you're getting. Just one way to clean up your screen and make sure that you can read it at a very important time of navigation. So here is your 6th tip. This is a bonus tip. If you make all kinds of crazy adjustments on your sonar settings and you don't remember where they started off, or you don't like how they look, all you have to do is go back and restore your settings. It's easy to do right here. I'm going to go to the home screen and go to settings and restore defaults. Now all I need to do is hit restore all sonar settings, and everything goes back to the factory defaults that we know are at 10 and 10. They're the mid-range and they're optimized. And here's the best news. When you restore defaults, it does not erase your waypoints and it does not erase your tracks. So you can do that with confidence and know you're just gonna readjust all your sonar settings. Wow, and then when you get to see fish just like those 2 fish on DI and SI, you know everything's working for you. So taking just a few minutes to get everything dialed in is well worth your time, and hopefully you feel a lot more confident about making those adjustments and know that it doesn't have to be an intimidating thing. And man, when you do, you get to see fish on edges just like those.